I have the pleasure, and we are going to have the pleasure to hear our County Executive, Steve McLaughlin, announce with the 2022 budget for the Rensselaer County. And without further ado, let's bring on the County Executive, Steve McLaughlin.
Afternoon, everyone. It's going to be a great day here today as we unveil the 2022 budget with Stacey Farrer, our Deputy County Executive and Budget Director, as you all know. So thanks for joining us today, and thanks for everybody live on Facebook that's watching. To the Honorable Michael Stamel and honorable members of the Rensselaer County Legislature and the residents of our great, growing, strong, and resilient county, as Rensselaer County Executive and in adherence to the duties described in the county charter, I'm honored to present to you the annual budget for Rensselaer County for the fiscal year 2022. The 2022 budget is my fourth budget since taking office as County Executive. This body has given unanimous support to each of the budgets introduced during my term, including the 19, 20, and 21 budgets. The unanimous support has demonstrated clearly to the people of Rensselaer County our shared commitment to growing our county, improving our quality of life, and preparing for the future. As we face the challenges of the pandemic, our Rensselaer County team has repeatedly won the day, growing a surplus by over $60 million, improving important county services, and in some cases setting records for delivery of services, and making county government more efficient and responsive during an historic time of uncertainty and pressure. We have succeeded under trying times, and I thank members of this legislative body for your support and also recognize our great and dedicated county employees. Your cooperation and support are again needed this year as we continue our efforts to move our county to new levels of success. This year, we will go further in improving our county and the quality of life for our residents. The 2022 budget was drafted under sometimes difficult and fast-changing circumstances, but again, we met the challenge and delivered a spending plan we can all take pride in. This budget demonstrates the resolve of this county to navigate the pandemic and emerge stronger, more united, and ready for new days. Each of my three budgets has delivered a property tax rate decrease. This budget recognizes our present times and the success of our administration and our county in providing the best services at the lowest cost possible. It recognizes that our residents have invested in this county as the total value of properties in our county has risen to a historic level, and Rensselaer County recently led the state in sales tax growth. The tax reductions the past 3 years have been important and set the stage for 2022. Our savings have grown and our efficiency strengthened, and we can now share that success with the people and taxpayers of our great county. We can now help guide our county to better days past the pandemic with the largest county property tax reduction in decades. I'll repeat that. This is the largest tax reduction this county has ever seen. We looked it up. We can't find one any bigger. For 2022, today, I can announce we will be proposing a 10% reduction in the average tax rate. I can also announce the proposed 10% property tax rate reduction for 2022 is built on a foundation of good judgment, effective decisions, new efficiencies employed by the county during the past 3 years. In fact, and get your old flip phones out ready for this news, the property tax rate reduction for 2022, when you combine that with what we did in 19, 20, and 21, add up to an 18.7% tax rate reduction for the people of this county. That brings the 2022 county tax rate to the 2002 level. The average tax rate in 2002 was $4.37 per thousand, and if adopted, the 2022 budget will include a $4.75 per thousand average tax rate. You don't see that much in New York, that's for sure. For a property valued at $150,000 full market value, depending on the municipality with equalization, A property taxpayer would save between $77 and $91 in 2022, or a countywide average savings of $84. The story of this budget is not just the 10% property tax rate reduction proposed for 22 and the fourth consecutive property tax rate reduction in 4 years. This is about our county seeing revenues accelerate even in a time of uncertainty. The story of this budget is that Rensselaer County repeatedly met challenges and obstacles with common sense, hard work, and a commitment to getting results for our residents. We met those challenges with common sense, with competence and compassion, and the results show that we delivered. When things were at their worst, so many in our county were at their best, and it will not be forgotten. Our record on taxes is solid and long-standing. We should recognize Rensselaer County's record of staying below the state's property tax cap rate every year the cap has been in place, which is over a decade now. We can also say that Rensselaer County is likely to offer the largest property tax rate decrease to residents across the entire state of New York, and that is something to be proud of. Yes, our residents will share in our success and see a reduction in county property taxes. But I regard the 10% property tax rate reduction as an investment in our future and a foundation to help our county clear the obstacles presented by COVID-19. To residents, we demonstrate that when times are good and success achieved by the county through effective management of the assets entrusted to us, that our people will share in that good fortune. To taxpayers, we recognize their investment and the confidence they place in Rensselaer County by purchasing a home, property, or business here. To employers, we are sending a clear message that we welcome their investment and are working effectively to maximize every dollar assigned to us. To all, we send the message that we are ready to emerge stronger from the pandemic and continue a path to great and sustained success. In many ways, we've been creating a platform for this significant property tax reduction since I started my work here with you. When I took office, I promised to look at county government with a new vision, renewed energy and focus, and innovative ideas, and I have kept that commitment. I am grateful that my team has done just that and appreciate that many of our initiatives have also met with support from members of this legislative body. We've made county government more efficient. We've grown our surplus from $20 million to over $80 million in 4 years. We've reduced recurring costs for energy, areas of purchasing, insurance, and personnel, and we've created savings for the people. We've seen growth, including the growth of our property value and our sales tax. We've seen historic job creation with Amazon, Regeneron, retail outlets in our large town and small businesses in towns and cities. Because of this growth, more Rensselaer County families can stay here and not be forced to leave the area for states in the west or the south. County has wisely utilized our fund balance, which is at an historic level, to benefit our residents, with some funds helping in the improvement of county roads. A relatively small amount from the surplus will be used to provide some of the 10% property tax rate reduction, because the fact is, it is the people's money. We are maintaining our common sense, fiscally responsible policies that brought us success and the ability to provide a significant property tax rate reduction to our people. We've earned a series of solid independent financial reviews. Recently, the New York State Comptroller's Office looked at Rensselaer County's finances and gave us a 0 fiscal stress rating. That is the best possible rating you can have. Doesn't get any better than a 0. Sales tax revenues have exceeded our expectations, and we expect continued growth during 2022. In 2021, Stacy budgeted for $88 million, but by comparison, we took in $96 million, which I told her we would, by the way. I told her we'd take in more than 88. We took in $96 million in 2020. Even during the pandemic, sales tax has been very strong in this county. Mortgage tax also performed really well, which is good news for our partners at the local level as we share that revenue with them. We expect mortgage taxes to again be healthy during 2022, which is further good news. The 22 budget continues to strengthen our services for seniors. Just prior to the presentation of this budget today, we reached a tentative agreement for the location of the new Troy Senior Center at City Station, right across the street. in downtown Troy. This resolves a significant issue with the senior center for our largest contingent of seniors. The new senior center will be safe, clean, accessible, and modern, and will be welcomed by our seniors not only here in Troy, but in the surrounding towns as well. We are going to make this a state-of-the-art, beautiful senior center. We promised our seniors a new home, and we remain committed to Troy, and we're glad to be fulfilling that promise to them. The 2022 budget also includes funding to allow for a study for the replacement of 2 senior centers, including Rensselaer and Hoosick Falls. In the case of Rensselaer, new owners envision different uses for the property, and in Hoosick Falls, we've simply outlived the life of the Murphy building. It's time to renew our commitment to our seniors with a network of facilities that are also accessible, modern, safe, and clean. It will be an added bonus in the case of Rensselaer and Hoosick Falls if we're able to own the properties and the buildings. Our study will also investigate whether there is a need for a 6th senior center in our county. Our employees provided outstanding service during the pandemic. We're very fortunate to be served by dedicated men and women who rose to the challenge and provided a level of service that was needed during difficult times. I announced last week we would be utilizing some of the Federal American Rescue Plan funds and county surplus to provide a one-time bonus to employees who served during the pandemic. We expect the money will be received by our employees by the end of this month. Our recognition of our employees is deserved and needed. Recruiting of employees is growing more difficult throughout our region and the nation. We've recognized this fact as well by erasing the requirement for new employees to start at 15% less than grade rate. In one area of county government, employees were starting at 20% less than grade rate. A change was needed, and it was enacted to remain competitive. This will help the county start off on better footing in terms of attracting the best and brightest to serve the people of Rensselaer County. The next generation is needed to assume the mantle of leadership and begin to make their mark in the areas of public service, economic development, community revitalization, and public safety. This budget sets forth that commitment and will hopefully welcome new talent and commitment to our workforce. No administration has focused more on improving our county roads. We've made a positive mark in terms of our work to improve and repair our county road system. When we started this term, we saw a county road network of over 330 miles that was in desperate need of attention, repair, and investment. We got to work improving one of the most important services for so many of our residents. Over the past 4 years, with your help, we have paved over 165 miles of road in this county. The drive for 65 this year is continuing, even despite some pretty severe weather interruptions this summer, and we expect to have good news regarding our goal in the coming days. In working to pave and improve our county road system, we've set records. The county previously set a record last year at 50 miles, and this year was 65. Nobody's ever really done that, so congratulations to this legislature for approving all of that. Previously, the county would pave maybe 20 miles of road a year, including several miles of recurring road projects. This year, clearly a record at 65, and doing so during a pandemic is even, I think, more impressive. We're certainly thankful to our great highway department and to all of our vendors for helping get that work done. And I can tell you, just from being out and about in the community, people notice this. There isn't a town that I go to or somebody doesn't grab us somewhere and say thank you for the roads. They're in great shape, and the people deserve that. The county's also invested in our bridge network, including on 2 projects that were the result of damage or deterioration. The bridge on County Route 42, which is Taborton Road in Sand Lake, was destroyed during the summer storm, and we replaced the structure with a temporary bridge that we took from Ford Road and moved it over to Taborton Road. The bridge on County Route 4, the Buffalo Bridge in Skodak, saw material defects that caused the bridge to require replacement much earlier than anybody expected. Delays ensued because of required reviews by the railroad. Work on the Ford Road project is also nearing completion. So in the next couple of weeks, we're going to have a couple of these bridges done and reopened for the people, which is great. It bears repeating that our accomplishments in improving roads and bridges came during times of real difficulty and challenge. During the 2 years of pandemic, setting a record was pretty impressive. So I thank everybody for their work. It's a strong and unprecedented commitment by our county to this service. We also shared some of our good fortune and proceeds from our hard work with many of the organizations that have done so much to support and protect our quality of life. For the 2020 fiscal year, we ended with an $18 million surplus. Again, Rensselaer County faced the pandemic during 2020, and we were able to not only meet new demands for services, including a significant increase in home-delivered meals, COVID-19 testing, and vaccinations, but we were able to do so while achieving and generating significant savings. We decided to pass that savings on to some vital grassroots organizations through the formation of the Rensselaer County Responds. Rensselaer County Responds utilizes some of the savings from the 2020 fiscal year to support organizations that dealt with significant challenges of their own in fundraising because of the pandemic. Just as we're doing with the property tax rate reduction, we're sharing the proceeds of our good work with those who give so much to our county. During the summer, Rensselaer County Response provided funding in the amount of $10,000 each to over 50 fire and ambulance companies and departments. And last week, $5,000 each to 14 veteran organizations. We're proud that in the case of the fire and ambulance companies, myself, my team, and legislators personally visited all the departments. We received thanks, but also we get the feeling that our partnership with these important partners was strengthened. These fire and ambulance and veterans organizations have dealt with very significant issues during the pandemic. In one case, the $10,000 we gave that fire company was 50% of their operating budget for the year. So that was a huge shot in the arm for them as they were worried about buying new hoses, if you can imagine that. That's what that money went for. It went to a really good use. We heard from veteran organizations that have put off maintenance and upgrades due to a lack of funds, but now they have the opportunity to do the needed work. We put our savings to good use for good things. As county executive, I'm proud that we built our surplus and can now withstand the unexpected and the unwanted. We're on solid ground and we are building for the future. We took some of our growth and some of our savings and we made a difference. In 2021, the county allocated $10.05 million for road work between county, state, and federal funds. In 2020, we appropriated $5.45 million for road work between county, state, and federal funds. On top of that, that's a historic level of support for improvement of our roads, and we did that, I want to add, without bonding. We didn't borrow any money to do this. We set the records, and we didn't pass the cost on to the next generation. Also, the historic level of support to our fire and ambulance companies is done at a time when many were considering amending or even ending their operations. We mention our emergency service partners again because work has begun on our emergency services training tower. That's a promise that I made when I ran for this office. The pandemic delayed us a little bit. It is on track. Things are starting to move out there. There were some delays with DEC getting permitting in place. It's all taken care of. Everything's done, and stuff is starting to move. We expect completion of that project in the spring of next year, and that's going to be welcome for everybody in this county as our folks need and deserve that state-of-the-art training. Additionally, we're going to be opening up property formerly owned by Fort Orange Paper Company just outside the village of Castleton as new parkland. It's going to be opening for limited use very shortly, like in the next week or so. Limited use this fall. We're going to do a survey of the area. It's going to be completed, and wider use possible will be in the coming months. We'll open it up fully. The area is located on Brookview Road. For those that don't know it, it features waterfalls fed by the Mordner Kill, trails, and areas to view birds and some wildlife. And if you haven't checked it out, you should do so. It's a beautiful spot. We also acknowledge Rensselaer County's continued improvement in the Papscony Island Nature Preserve. Under the stewardship of the Open Space Institute, Papscony has now been returned to the rightful owners, the Stockbridge Munsee Mohican tribe. We look to protect the special qualities of our county and to expand investment here. With that, I want to extend special recognition on a major investment undertaken by a member of this legislative body, Legislator Scott Bendette and his partner Tom Choquette, who have just completed the purchase of the former Evergreen Country Club. For those of you who are about my age, which pretty much everybody in the room, see that, Kenny? I just gave you a huge compliment. The property was once known as Cordial Greens and featured prize-winning golf courses, a large pool, and a noted restaurant. The property has been vacant for several years, and it is indeed great news to see the property being revitalized. Congratulations to Scott and Tom. We're looking forward to seeing that open up. There's some areas of concern, which is to be expected, given the challenges we face with the pandemic. The national economy does show some signs of stress, particularly in the labor shortage, supply chain issues, and concern over debt and spending. Growth of our sales tax has been a major positive factor for us and our local government partners. Any stall in the national economy could be followed by an interruption in our strong sales tax growth in recent years. State finances continue to be shaky. What else is new? New York entered the pandemic in tough fiscal shape and will emerge probably in worse shape. That should be a concern to everyone in our county. Obviously, a lot of attention was diverted during the recent controversies and ultimate resignation of Andrew Cuomo. Our new governor recently implemented a state hiring freeze. The State Retirement Fund experienced a significant loss in revenue, which is pretty unusual for our fund at the state level. Expenses in many areas of state government have increased. A recent study showed New York State with a tax burden of over $20,000 per resident, earning the state a grade of F. So again, our efforts to reduce property taxes are important. And the state government could learn a thing or two about how to competently operate from this county and how we do things here. Our employees and our emergency services, as we have noted, provided outstanding service during the pandemic. Rensselaer County provided an independent and effective response when COVID-19 arrived. When the state refused our request for assistance in establishing testing, we joined together, and we got that done in a bipartisan manner and established our own testing facility. Tens of thousands were tested in this county. When we were not able to convince the state to establish a vaccination site, once again, we established our own. And again, tens of thousands of our residents were vaccinated. We did so with the assurance from the federal and state governments that our costs would be covered and repayment made. We're seeing a somewhat lengthy or changing method for covering these costs. We're seeing a delay in $7 million in reimbursements for state-mandated testing for our employees at Van Rensselaer Manor. This is obviously a concern, especially as the testing fulfilled a state mandate. Thankfully, we've seen some better success with reimbursements at our very successful pods at Hudson Valley Community College and a number of community vaccination clinics sponsored by the county. Even the Vax Bus, which we all came up with, is expected to be covered by federal funds. Our contact tracing team, which has been effective and followed time-honored methods of tracking new or dangerous illnesses, is also being reimbursed by the state. We've received many compliments from our residents regarding operation of the vaccination clinics at Hudson Valley. I want to thank Dr. Roger Ramsamy and his team at Hudson Valley for their efforts and their help in helping us get that set up. It was an unbelievable operation. They did a great job. I want to thank our outstanding public health director, Mary Fran Wachunas, and her team for their response and their effort. Simply incredible. And special thanks must go out to the members of our Medical Reserve Corps. They gave countless hours in the purest spirit of generosity and public service. They were the face of compassion and calm, coming from the fields of medicine, public safety, government, education, and business, and united as volunteers. And we are so fortunate to have them, our neighbors. Let's give them a round of applause. A little bit on Hudson Valley Community College. We're all proud of Hudson Valley. It's one of the gems of this county, along with Van Rensselaer Manor. We're proud to be their sponsor, their chief sponsor, as they provide excellent and affordable education. at Hudson Valley Community College for over 60 years. That college has transformed lives and helped realize potential. In the 2021 budget, we all increased our sponsor share to them by over $200,000 for 2022. County's maintaining the same level of sponsor contribution, including the increase provided last year. Van Rensselaer Manor, another gem of the county, provides excellent level of care for residents and families, and as you all know, we are very protective of that tradition, that service, and those people. So protective of that legacy, we were willing to fight those who tried to put our seniors at risk. We recently celebrated our 20th anniversary of the opening of the newer version of the manor and heard from many families about their appreciation of our efforts. The state vax mandate has created new issues for facilities like Van Rensselaer Manor, and some have chosen to leave. Staffing is already at a premium at the manor, and we are reviewing those issues and considering measures to assist in recruiting. We value our employees, including everyone at the manor, and we recognize the service they provide. Our health department residents have been truly fortunate to be served by our outstanding and dedicated health department led by Public Health Director Mary Fran Wachunas. During 2021, our health department has responded to the pandemic with successful and well-organized vaccination clinics at Hudson Valley in January, where tens of thousands were vaccinated. They brought our Vax bus throughout the county and are now providing booster shots at Hudson Valley. They've also maintained the usual number of clinics to beat other diseases and afflictions and has played a central role in our response to the opioid crisis. Rensselaer County has been unique in helping guide people to treatment through the work of Opioid Recovery Coordinator Neil Kelleher, through the work of our Heroin Coalition, and the grassroots efforts to provide Narcan and other tools in this battle. I want to thank our health department for their work in handling an ever-changing and a pressure-filled environment. The latest issue, as you know, is the discovery of PFOA at a few properties in Post and Kill. While we did not create this issue, we have responded to the best of our ability, providing resources to allow for testing and, on occasion, bottled water for residents. We remain committed to working with residents along with the state, DEC, and DOH to determine the cause and the treatment for the situation. To recognize the expanded and important role of our health department, we're recommending the funding in the 2022 budget of a Deputy Public Health Director to aid Mary Fran and her department in their work. Our medical death examiner, you've all heard about that. The state-mandated vaccination requirement resulted in Rensselaer County losing the service of our longtime medical examiner. This is not a situation the county wants, but the law forces us to react to maintain the service. I want to thank Dutchess County Executive Mark Molinaro for quickly responding to our request for assistance and enabling our county to utilize his county's well-regarded ME services. A long-term solution is definitely still needed. I've asked our health department to begin a national search for a new medical examiner, and we are in the process of seeking a new and more permanent home for this legally required service. Cornell Cooperative Extension has a great heritage in Rensselaer County in their agricultural enterprises and the education they provide. It's a significant role here in the county, and the county provides an annual sponsor share to Cooperative Extension, and for 2022, the proposed budget increases the sponsor share by $50,000 to cover general expenses. A little bit on mandates, not too much because you've all heard it before, but state mandates continue to be a major source of stress and worry for our county along with every other county and municipality across New York State. While attention on the critical issue of mandate relief was diverted somewhat by the pandemic, the problem continues to grow and continues to go largely unaddressed. Is it reasonable to hope that a new administration in Albany will provide relief for a social spending structure that is the highest in the nation? We hope there's some reason for optimism there, because mandates now consume $150 million of our general fund tax levy and approximately 90 cents on every dollar. That's too much, obviously, especially when reasonable efficiencies could be employed to maintain an effective level of care at a more affordable cost. Mandates represent a government that is unable to control spending and only able to transfer problem after problem onto the backs of the same taxpayers that are already overburdened. Mandates restrict growth and investment. They hamper economic development, and they wreck local budgetary control. Look at what we achieved despite mandates, and imagine what could be done and what could be accomplished if they were reduced reasonably. Our county debt. Rensselaer County, we made major strides in reducing the overall indebtedness of our county as we reduce taxes and strengthen services and increase our fund balance. Over the past 4 years, we've reduced debt by $33 million in 4 years. That's 22% reduction. The county, in fact, the only borrowing we've done is for the Emergency Services Training Center, and that's because that's a long-term asset. It made a lot more sense to borrow for that money, although we could have paid cash. Money was cheap enough, we borrowed that. But other than that, 22%, $32 million gone. That's off the backs of the taxpayers. They don't have to pay that interest anymore. We will again note the county did not bond. Very important to say that. I think that's notable for any county to not incur debt. Rensselaer County Highway Department, I've mentioned it before with our efforts on roads. They've done an amazing job for us. We've invested in new equipment. We appreciate the support of the legislature on that. That's very important that we upgraded the equipment out there. There were mowers that were from the 1960s when we took office. So it needed to be done. We're buying new plow trucks, new heavy equipment, new pickup trucks. We bought a paver. Didn't bond for any of that. Some of this equipment, including the paver, has been used in shared services with our local partners, which is great. And we're looking to continue our investment in '22, purchasing additional tandem plow trucks and a new sign truck, which is important among some other heavy equipment. And we are certainly committed to modernizing and improving our roads and our equipment. We do acknowledge there's a need to improve our culverts and bridges across the county, and we've begun the effort to kind of catalog what needs to be done out there. We focus heavily on roads. We're going to focus heavily next year, not only on roads, but we're going to focus on culverts and bridges as well, so stay tuned as that's going to be a major focus. Our Department for the Aging, led by Carol Rosbosm, provided really valuable services during the pandemic, major increase in the number of home-delivered meals. And this year, the department is transitioning back to in-person services, which is a vital link between the seniors and the community. We look forward to their work in opening the new Troy Senior Center in downtown and working to modernize and possibly expand our senior services and centers. Community solar, Rensselaer County is certainly doing its part. We have a strategy to reduce our energy cost by $3 million over 25 years. That's about $150,000 annually, and we're utilizing community solar to do that. We've had several hundred of our property owners throughout the county. They've joined the effort. They're saving 10%. I would encourage everybody to do that if you haven't already. They're saving 10% on their electric service, and it costs them nothing to join. This comes in addition to our annual savings of $200,000 for electric and gas accounts. ER Anywhere, we've talked about that before. We're first in the nation to offer that for our Medicaid recipients, and stand by because we're about to expand that with our partnership with UCM Digital Health. We are going to expand that very quickly and very soon so that every resident in this county will have access to ER Anywhere. We may be the first county again to do that. We're not sure about that. It really doesn't matter as long as we're doing the right thing for the people, which we are. So we're proud of our ER Anywhere efforts. It was recognized locally and nationally by the National Association of Counties and the New York State Association of Counties. Also want to mention briefly, we got the New York Municipal Insurance Award, which, you know, that's you folks that handle the insurance for the county, so congratulations on that. That is a pretty prestigious award. It recognizes the solid risk management efforts of Rensselaer County, so well done on that. The American Rescue Plan, county received $30 million, $15 million this year, $15 million next year. We continue to assess priorities for that funding, which the federal government is largely requiring that it go to infrastructure improvement. There certainly remains a need to improve water and sewer service in the communities across the county. I've spoken of corridors of growth many times, and we're examining our corridors of growth to determine expansion of infrastructure and opportunities for future growth and job creation. Stay tuned for some more updates on that funding in the coming weeks. Just to wrap things up, 2022 budget was formulated through months of hard work by a number of dedicated and hardworking members of Rensselaer County's government. Thank you to our Budget Director, Stacy Farrer, for her dedication and effort, along with members of her staff, including James Bragg, Mark DeMore, and Ellen Christensen, along with our Chief Fiscal Officer, Mark Wojcik, and the members of his finance staff. I thank also my Director of Operations, Rich Christ, and our executive team, staff members of Paula Carpinella-Goca, Michelle Franklin-Burton, and Leslie Wallace. I want to thank Jim Gordon, our Director of Central Services, for all of his hard work. We certainly recognize the shared partnership and the annual budget process represents under the county charter between the executive branch and the legislative branch. Thank you to the Chair of the Legislature, Mike Stammel, Vice Chairwoman Kelly Hoffman, Vice Chair for Finance Bob Loveridge, Majority Leader Ken Harrington, along with Minority Leader Peter Grimm, and other members of our county's legislature. We also recognize the Clerk of the Legislature, Jess Charette, Auditor Laurie Ruffinen, and other legislative staffers for their valuable role during the budget process. As elected officials, recognizing our county charter, we share a responsibility for crafting and adopting a document that will faithfully serve the more than 156,000 residents of this great county. We look forward to a productive and positive review and eventual consideration of this budget document for the fiscal year 2022. The spending plan as presented reflects months of hard, honest, and needed work to forecast often challenging fiscal currents and ensure taxpayers are protected and residents served in 2022. The work done in the coming weeks, and indeed during the upcoming fiscal year, will hopefully strengthen our county, expand on recent successes, and improve quality of life and prosperity for all in Rensselaer County. Believe the best is yet to come. Thank you. Yeah. Do you have the budgets? Somebody has.